Hi guys, if it's Tuesday, it's Down and Dirty Woodscraft. Stay with me. Okay guys, today we're going to talk about canteen cups. Now, in a recent video I did that was received very well was about some canteen cooking, where I showed how to do the woodsman's pie in my canteen cup. And I had a couple of people mention the type of canteen I was using and how various things. So let me give my little bit of 2 cents wisdom on the canteen cups. Now, there are two basic designs of the U.S. Army canteen cup that are commonly available today. There's a third, which is the Arctic cup. We're not going to deal with that. It's like a shallow little soup bowl, and it can have its uses, but we're talking about the standard canteen cup. And those two types have the butterfly handle and the solid handle style. Now let's start with the solid handle for just a moment. And this is the one out of my kit. Now I have a heavy cover lid, and we'll get to that in a minute on uses for this in it. But it has the type that is the bar that comes around. Now, here is what I see a lot of times. People are talking about how these handles were dumb. It has to do with some tension and some geometry. So let me show you that. When you look here on the back, you see these two hooks right here. And on the actual handle, there's a slider. Okay, if this slider is too loose, which means it just flops like this one is almost, you want to lay this upon something like an anvil or something hard and close these two little tabs up just a little bit. It should be where you can slide it fairly easily, but it is not too loose. This is too loose. I want it to be where I slide it. It slides and I can slide it with one finger, but I don't want it just flop. This one is really too loose. The next thing is these little wings right there. These are what's going to go behind these two hooks. What you want to do is, that thing is vertical. It's going to slide down behind that existing hook that's on the cup. What you want to do is you want to take the one that's on the canteen handle and tip it out slightly at the top. Grab a hold of it with a pair of pliers and just lean it a few degrees. Not a lot, don't get crazy here, but lean it just a little bit. And what happens is it'll start easy, but as it goes home it gets more and more and more in tension. So when you push it down solid, it locks in place and does not come up easily. Okay. What you want, way you want it to be is that when I bring this handle all the way up, you don't want to let go and it drop in place. I want to have to grab a hold of it and squeeze it. See how it dropped in? Do that again. If I'm bringing this handle up like this and it just letting go and it's dropping in place, my geometry's off. I need to bring it up here and have to take it and watch how it does. Squeeze it up just a little, just like that, and it will go into place. I have to kind of push it in, just like that. Now because of that canteen is locked, that ain't gonna come loose. I don't have to worry about that now. Okay, now with the butterfly handles, there's a little thing that a lot of people don't realize. The butterfly handles, so that they do that, they flop around, etc. You aren't locking them. One handle is bigger than the other. So what you want to do is bring them together like that, and then here at the bottom, at this side over here locks into that side. So you bring it up there, you squeeze it, And then you come right here in this bottom corner and you go, hear that click? Now it don't fall. Now it stays rigid. You know, but what you got to do is, again, you bring the two handles together, then you grab the bottom handle and go, and they lock. If you just grip it, it doesn't lock. You have to grab the bottom and click, and now it locks together. And that makes it where it doesn't rattle and it's rigid, easy to grab for cooking. Now, let's talk about my stove. And I mentioned in that video that I use the old style Canteen stove, and there's a reason. There's a model that came out after this that's shaped kind of similar, and it sits on the bottom, but it's solid. And what I mean by solid is that it is not hollow to the middle. It has a bottom on it, okay? And the idea being that you would set the Canteen on there like that and put a heat tab in there. I like the type that sticks to it. And there's several extra uses you get out this way. One, it can stay in place while I'm using it. My stove isn't in the way. I don't have to have extra carrying handles for it. Two, whenever you turn it around and put it onto the Canteen cup, it locks in place and it stays with it. It means I can now sit it down. And for cooking, it means I can rake up a bed of coals and sit the Canteen on top of it. And I can, if I start losing my heat or it's gone, I rake up another pile of coals and just transfer it over another set of coals. It's quick to pick up and hop from side to side. But there's another use for this. Now, remember that lid I talked about? I've got one of the heavy cover lids, and several people mentioned that to me. And it fits both of my Canteens that I've got, both the butterfly handle and the spade handle, like that. It allows you to be able to cover for cooking, but it also allows another little trick that I haven't seen anybody else do. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take, well, let me show you right quick. Okay, now, as I've mentioned in earlier videos, I carry in my Canteen cup set folded up pieces of heavy aluminum foil. I use it to make everything, including bakers and Dutch ovens, reflector ovens and things like that, but I use them a lot for that small cooking. And this is one of the little tricks I've learned for doing. I take my Canteen and I set my aluminum foil up there, and I'm going to mold very tightly around my Canteen, just like this. Pull it as tight as you can, tuck the edges around, etc. And mold it to the Canteen, just like this. Make sure there's no big pointy up sticking up or something like that. Squeeze it good and tight and get it on there. Now when you slide it off, you got a little bitty bowl. Now with this bowl, I'm going to take these flaps that naturally seem to pop up, I'm going to fold them over inside like that. I now have a little bowl. And what I'm going to do with that bowl is I'm going to use it for baking. I'm going to put my batter into this. And I'm going to take and sit it the way it orients onto that heavy cover lid, just like that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, remember that stove stuck on the bottom? I'm going to fill this top full of hot coals. Scoop them up, rake them in, stand it up, and then I'm going to come up to my ready to go set, and I'm going to gently slide it down into the cup like this. Easier doing it's got something in it, of course. And just kind of guide it in there a little bit. There we go. And I would slide down and lock it like that. Now that would be my heat sitting there. I would hold the bottom on with my finger initially, and then I go and sit it on 2 sticks with a little bit of coals underneath it like that, and I can bake. So this holds my heat, and the heat is coming down to bake the top of it. All baking in this situation is based upon the idea you start with a wet dough. It's kind of hard to burn a wet dough because of the moisture content, but as it cooks, the moisture evaporates out, leaving the bread, the donut, the muffin, the whatever, the pancake. And so you want that heat from above to come up and do it. Now this is also steaming like this. I can take and put small vegetables or stuff I like, onions or shallots or wild edibles, and a little bit of water, and do it like this and steam like this. So I'm making steamed vegetables very simply. Of course, the classic is to do it this way, and you can do it this way. Take a piece of aluminum foil and coil it up, make a little flat piece, and then make a zigzag and put them in the bottom, and then sit your little cup up on top of it with the lid on top, and then you can rake coals up here. But I find that that is the best way to hold a bed of coals and radiate the heat down for baking or something like that. And as you can see, that handle stays locked until I go and unlock it. We bring the handles together, grab the bottom and go click, and it stays locked. No problem. Well, click. Okay, so with just a couple little tips of tightening up the latch, using this type of stove on it, using a heavy cover lid, using a little bit of aluminum foil, I can cook 90% of what I need in the field for just me. And it's been my method for 30 years to tote a canteen cup or something small like this to cook in, because my needs are simple and I can do it in basically a canteen cup. Okay guys, if there's anything you'd like to see me do with the canteen that you've seen somebody else do and you'd like to see my take on it, or there's just something you want to do, let me know. I'm going to be bringing more recipes and things to you in future episodes. Till next time then, I'm Blackie for Shaman's Forge Woodscraft, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.